Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Apex Racing TV and welcome to the Circuit de la Sarthe. Well, last week the Le Mans 24 Hours was taking place, but today it's 3 races in the British Sim Racers Touring Car Championship. 3 sprint races as well, so we've definitely got something to look forward to here. And no, it's definitely not the Bugatti circuit. It is the full Circuit de la Sarthe. You can see it on the track map there. 13.5 kilometers in length. And yeah, we're going to be doing 3 races with reverse grids as well, and as you can imagine, a lot of slipstreaming is going to be taking place. Well, good evening everybody, I'm Adam Bath and I'm going to be with you for the next 3 races. BSRTC winner, actually no, not BSRTC winner, made that stat up, BSR World Series winner. Now, I have raced in the BSRTC before, just if you're in any doubt of what I'm talking about. I'm sure many of the other drivers will say that I don't know what I'm talking about, but yeah, 4 seasons in the job, no, more than that, 4 or 5 years in the job here. You're in safe hands for the next few hours or so. Qualifying is currently taking place at the moment. You can see some of the times there on the bottom of your screen. We can also bring up the timing tower actually for it. As we get rid of that, we can show you who is currently on the pole position. No surprises to most of you. It's Ash Sutton that currently sits at the top of the tree. Then it's Stuart McFadden in 2nd place. Did very well at Montreal last week. Has won 2 race 3s in a row. He won the one before that at Imola as well. Then it's Christian Rose in 3rd. Pete Howard in 4th. Then it's Championship leader Jack Regan in 5th. I don't know why it says Stephen Baxter there. Then it's Colin Cunniff 6th. Then it's Alex Simpson, who, which is one of the rare. This is one of the rare tracks where Alex has actually raced at before. He did a guest appearance race here last season. Did okay in race 1. I think he got a top 10, but then after that was a bit of a disaster, and I think he ended up with back of the grid penalty after that. Then it's Jamie Fluke in 8th. No introductions needed there. World Championship Grand Prix Series driver. He raced at the Sim Expo last year as well. He managed to make it through to the finals there. Didn't do too well, if I remember rightly. I think he had a crash within the opening lap or so. Sorry, Jamie, for bringing that up. Dave Baker in 9th, season 7 champion, has come close in the past, and he sits 2nd in the championship as well, but he is a good 120 points behind as things stand, so he'll be hoping for a good race meeting here. And then it's 10th place Alex Everett, the Welshman. So that is the state of play. You can also see down the timing tower as I've just got rid of everything. You can also see the green stripes. Now, if you're new to the BSRTC, first of all, welcome. Are you sure you're not a football fan? Because there is some football on. But yeah, the green stripes down the side mean Pro-Am drivers. So without sugarcoating it, the drivers that are maybe just not as good as the likes of Ash Sutton and Stuart McFadden, who are at the top of our qualifying tree, but they do get their own championship to fight in. And in the BSRTC, there is quite a lot of prizes up for grabs. It's a season that runs all the way through till late November with a showdown format as well. So when we get to the closing stages of the season, the top 10 in the championship close right up in points. We reset them, and then they go at it for a good 4 weeks to decide who will be the champion. It does make things pretty exciting. 2015, if you're new to the channel, make sure you go and have a look at the final race of Daytona 2015 in the BSRTC, because that was something quite special. If you're looking at the times and wondering why drivers are like 13 minutes into their lap, they are probably on in-laps. Probably makes sense. And they're just cruising around, going by. You can see some of the famous bits of the circuit here. That is Tetra Rouge. Before we go on to the Mulsanne Straight, I will quickly, thanks to the help of the internet, find out how long the Mulsanne Straight is, with the chicanes included, of course. It is a 3.7 mile, 3.7 miles straight. So, yeah, 3.7 miles. But we do have a few chicanes in there, so that is going to help in terms of overtaking. Even with the chicanes included, it is going to be still a lot of slipstreaming. Right, a few new drivers. You can see they've got black stripes next to their names because we haven't got them on the system yet. 2 new drivers. We've got William Daniels, you can see there, he's currently sat in 28th place. And then just behind him in 29th is Tyler Lugo Vickery. And those are two new drivers. We'll see how they get on. Some notable drivers that are going to be starting at the back. Wojciech Savidovic for a collision, I think I can remember from last week. Julian Janowski, Sven Glatzel, Josh Thompson. Probably a penalty that carried over from Imola because I don't think Josh was at Montreal. Nicole Foggy's going to be starting at the back as well, it looks like. Quite a few drivers, in fact, starting towards the rear. 30 cars have set times. The other 18 haven't. Shows what happened at Montreal last week if you haven't seen it. It was a pretty chaotic race meeting as Marco Barbanera, who was with me last week in the commentary box, will tell you as well. Right then, have we got anyone still on a lap? Because we are quickly approaching the gridding phase. And then we can take you through the grid in a bit more detail. And yeah, reverse grid at the end of this race and at the end of race 2 as well. Usually the opening race is 20 minutes, then the other 2 races are laps. And those laps are determined by how long it took us to complete this 20-minute opening race. So nothing to fret about. We'll have noticed that the start line is in a different position here. They've updated it this year to move it a bit further forward. The timing line is still in the same place. It is just the start line where the drivers move away from the standing start that's going to be different. Don't know if it's going to be a rolling start here either, because it is pretty congested. If you are the likes of Michael Hall and Dave Crozier, you are literally going to be starting on the entry into the Ford chicane, and that's not good. For one, you won't be able to see the lights, but it might help you if there is a wreck in front of you. So swings and roundabouts are starting at the back, and in the BSRTC, survival is key in the opening race of the day. Speaking to the Apex boys a few weeks ago, or last season in fact, they pointed out that race 1 and race 3 tend to be the more important of the races, just because race 1 is all done on pace, and race 2 you're usually in the midfield, but by the time you get to race 3 you'll be back in with a shout of competing again. And if the last few race meetings are anything to go by, we've usually had 3 different race winners across the evening. So it shows that the rules work in the BSRTC. We've got about 10 seconds to go before we finally advance. I can quickly run you through the team standings as well. Not that they are competitive, at least at the top anyway. It's CQR leading the way. Then then it's Northern Lights GT Omega, over 1,100 points behind. Good grief! You can hear the French Air Force. Then it's CQR Academy, and then it's Team Mad, Apex Racing in 5th, Boosted, Scuderia Haggis, Automech Not Killing 8th, Simortal 9th, and Youth Energy 10th, with Bodak and ProSim rounding them out. Right, time to run you through the grid. It's Ash Sutton starting on pole, 3/10 of a second behind it, CQR colleague Stuart McFadden. Then it's another CQR Academy car in 3rd in Christian Rose. Then Pete Harrod, Stephen Baxter in 5th, his teammate Colin Cunniff in 6th. Alex Simpson starting up there in 7th place. He did a 24-hour race with me and Andrew Woodhouse last year. About this time last year, in fact. And he's put that experience to good use, and the fact that it's one of the few tracks he's been at in the Kia to get it in the top 10. His teammate Jamie Fluke's behind him in 8th. Then Dave Baker, 9th. 10th is Alex Everett. 11th, Nicole Foggy. 12th is Chris Wood. Moving on back, 13th place, Jack McIntyre. 14th, the first of the Pro-Ams, is Adam McNally. Ross McFarlane, the Scotsman, 15th. 16th, Dan Brown, then Craig Williams. Mark Woodhouse, Brian Holmes, the Welshman, Nathan Davis. 21st place, Kip Stevens. Max Wright in 22nd. John Roberts, 23rd. 24th for Adam Delmont. Then Lee Diemer, Scott Malcolm, Adam Hadfield, and Miguel Freitas, the Portuguese. Not doing too badly, Miguel, aren't they? Are Portugal in the World Cup? Lee Diemer, who's not at the World Cup, is in 26th. Then it's Hadfield, Freitas, sorry, those guys. Then it's Paul Smith. Then it's Will Daniels and Tyler Lugo Vickery. And then it's the cars that didn't set times. Jack Sedgwick, who did pretty well last night in the iRacing Le Mans series, and everybody else. But because we haven't got time for them, here come the lights.
Green, green, green.
And we're underway. Good start from Sutton. McFadden is able to slot in second place. Look at the flag with the Union, with the flag of St George on the top of the car. That's Jack Regan, the championship leader. He's already at one position. It's a terrible start from Christian Rose. You can see him on the outside, and now we go into the first corner. Are they going to be able to do better than the guys in the 24-hour Le Mans race did on Saturday? Through the first chicane they go, the Dunlop chicane, now under the bridge. So far so good. Please don't quarter panel through there, guys. That will end in disaster. Look what happened to Alan McNish a few years ago. You can hear drifting. That is Pete Howard in front as they go on their way towards Tetra Rouge. This is going to be a 5-lap race as we go through the right-hand turn onto the Mulsanne straight for the first time. It's Sutton breaking into an early lead. Then it's Jim McFadden in second. Third is Pete Howard. Then Baxter, Cunniff, Fluke, Rose, Alex Simpson down a position to 8th. Then it's Alex Everett and Dave Baker as we build up the speed for the first time, heading towards the Forza Motorsport chicane. And you can see there's an Apex car already moving to the inside. It might be Brian Holmes. He's got his teammate Nathan Davis for close company, and Ross McFarlane leading the line. And who's that flying up the order? That might be Davis that's late on. Oh no! How has he avoided disaster there, Nathan Davis? That is going to be the mother of all slowdowns, though, because it is the opening lap of the race. Credit to him for not hitting the wall, but you can see from the damage on the back, he definitely got some help. And maybe we do have time to have a look at a replay here. Who is it that hits him? Oh! It's a boosted car, and it punted him off the circuit. With the green on the back, I think it was John Roberts. That was what happened there to Nathan Davis. Right then, Sutton into the Michelin chicane. He's got Stuart McFadden now right behind him. It is going to be insanely difficult for you to break away around this circuit, solely because of how long the straights are. You've got the Mulsanne, and then you've got the straight out of the Mulsanne corner, which is what they're coming up to in a minute. But Stuart McFadden, he's right with Sutton already. You can see he's right in the wheel tracks of the reigning British Touring Car champion, not having it his own way this season due to the fact that the Subaru just doesn't seem to be at it. You'll probably have a go at me for that one. There's probably some other reason. But into Mulsanne, Sutton dipping 2 wheels into the gravel on exit. And I wonder if we can get a good view to show... Oh, I hear contact. It's not Josh Thompson. It's one of the Youth Energy cars. It's Adam Delmont. And it's a Immortal car as well. So let's have a look. It's an out of control Delmont. We're 3 wide here, and there's an Apex car involved as well. Oh, it's the Apex car. Now, I don't know which one it was. There's just no way of telling. Maybe we can rewind back again. That's not helped at all, has it? Let's try again. Let's look from the rear. It's a Pro. It's car 106. That is Brian Holmes. No, it was Jamie Fluke. Now, Jamie Fluke, who was up inside the top 10 originally, has dropped back, and yeah, that has not gone at all well. So he must have had a bad getaway and then been involved in the mix there. But that was what resulted in the T-boning down at the Mulsanne corner. And it looks like things are kicking off again on the exit of Arnage, the slowest part of the circuit. But meanwhile, back at the front, heading into the Porsche Curves. These have been heavily modified since this track was added to the iRacing service. A lot more runoff area here. And boys, do the drivers wish that was in use here, because if you get it wrong here, you could be in deep trouble. Delmont's had to tow back to the pits. You can see from that on the graphics, he looks like that's his opening race done. However, it is such a long lap here that if he gets towed back in time, he might be able to get back out before going more than 2 laps down and be in with a shout of the reverse grid for race 2. But we'll see. Sutton then, into the forward chicane. Very easy to get a slowdown penalty here. I was doing qualifying for the 24 hours last year here, and it's the make or break of the lap really when you're in qualifying. Slow down. I was talking about it, and it's for the flag with the Scottish crest on the top of the line there, and that's Colin Cunniff. He's not too dissimilar. He's not too unfamiliar to a slowdown, I should say, because it cost him a race back in season 5 of the BSRTC. Looking here at Alex Simpson, he sits in 5th position. He had lost a place at the beginning, but after slowdown penalties and whatnot, he's found himself 2 positions up from where he started as we complete the opening lap here. And he's having to defend from the championship leader. No, he's not defending from the championship leader. He's defending from Alex Everett, who is inside the top 10 in the championship. You can see who's who's kept their powder dry in the early going by the position gains down the side of the timing tower. Jack Sedgwick gains 13 places. Carl Janssen has gained 13 as well. It's a fine art, this slipstreaming. I wonder how Alex is going to defend from this. He's got no help in front. In the 24 hours that we did, he got absolutely shoved in the back from another car. Don't think Alex Everett's going to be doing any of that. It looks like it's going to be a pretty clean move going into the first of the chicanes, the Forza Motorsport chicane. And through goes Alex Everett into the top 5. Now he can chase after Alex Everett. Jamie Fluke up the inside of Chris Wood, going through the first chicane. He took a lot of curb there, Chris Wood. I wouldn't be too surprised if he gets a slowdown penalty for that. Looks like he's got away with it. That camera angle can be deceiving. And now here comes Adam McNally, Pro-Am driver in the Youth Energy car. There he is, car 54. And now into the second of the chicanes. Brian Holmes, you can also see moving up the timing screen on that left-hand side. Through goes Fluke into 14th. Jack Sedgwick is also there. He was amazing at gaining positions 3 weeks ago, I should say, at Imola. There's a boosted car with a lot of front-end damage. That must be John Roberts when he careered into the back of Nathan Davis earlier on. Alex Simpson is back at it here with Alex Everett, just when we thought that Everett could plough on from getting past the Apex Racing driver. Alex is coming back at him going into the Mulsanne corner here. Everett holds on. Now this could be the opportunity for Dave Baker to get by. Baker, season 7 champion, has come close on a lot of occasions in other seasons. He was the main challenger to Wojciech Savidovic last season. Things just didn't work out in the slowdown, but here they go. They're on their way towards Indianapolis and Arnage, where I wrecked our Ferrari 488 GTE last year. And Baker could be up to his magic 6th place. You ask why I say magic. He's finished in 6th place a lot before. Car 5, and Alex Simpson down to 7th place. So how quickly things can change in a lap here in the BSRTC. But you've got to be in with a shout at this circuit. That's all you've got to do. Just stay in there. Meanwhile, at the front, Pete Harrod coming under pressure from Stephen Baxter behind. / Jack Regan, championship leader. Usually the system updates his name. Don't know why it hasn't done that here, but it is CQR Club, leading CQR Academy. Then it's another CQR Club in Pete Harrod with the English flag there on the graphic. And then it's Jack Regan, championship leader, behind. So that's the state of play there. Moving on back through the field. This is Jack Sedgwick. He's got Adam McNally again for company, and then Chris Wood, and then Christian Rose. Close battle there. Let's move on further forward, further back, I should say, because here is Wojciech Savidovic, reigning series champion. He's won the last 2 titles, season 2016 and 2017. Since it all went a bit pear-shaped in 2015, he's made sure that he's winning the titles again, and you can see that he's up to 22nd place. That's a gain of 12 positions so far, slowly working his way through the field. You can see on the lap times that are coming out of the side, Stuart McFadden putting in a new fastest lap of the race. That's immediately bettered by Brian Holmes in the Apex Racing car, doing a 4 minutes 12.7. To put that into some sort of context, the lap record around the Circuit de la Sarthe is 3 minutes 14. So you put them up against the P1 cars. Up the inside goes Chris Wood. No, it's Mark Woodhouse into the side of Carl Janssen, who was minding his own business, I think. Let's have a look on the replay. Oh, he was serving a slowdown, wasn't he? And we can get the appropriate camera angle. It looks like he served it, then Woodhouse out of nowhere. Bang into the side. Meanwhile, you can see that there's a change of lead at the very front. It's Stuart McFadden that now leads. This could be a slowdown for Sutton because he still hasn't served it. Oh my word! Jack Regan taking life into his own hands there, and it's still not over because Pete Harrod sliding his way into 2nd place. Here's Dave Baker and Alex Simpson and Alex Everett. They too are all over the place under braking. 3 wide on exit. This is lap 3 of 5. if this is what we got in race 1, we said this, me and Marco said this last week, God knows what's going to happen in race 2 and race 3. Who's this in the middle? This is Nicole Foggy. Foggy, who started just outside the top 10. Trying to get involved here. 2 teammates, of course. GT Omega versus Scuderia Haggis, but they're all racing under the Northern Lights Racing banner. Simpson managing to find the apex. And he's kicking off again at the front. Has McFadden now got a slowdown penalty? He is very slow on exit there. Don't know if he's hit the wall. It doesn't look like there's any damage. Now he's on the hard shoulder. Jack Regan. He's trying to overtake Pete Harrod for the lead, and he's found an opening. And he's going to go up the inside. Just when it looked like it was CQR dominance at the front, within half a lap, it's Stephen Baxter that leads. How quickly things can change. We're just over the halfway mark in this race. But now the CQR Club and CQR Academy cars can try and work together again. It's no surprise why they were at the front after qualifying. They've got so many cars in the field that it only made sense for them to be on pole, because they could coordinate the qualifying together, almost like the Seat Turbo Diesels back in the Super 2000 days of the BTC, of the World Touring Car Championship. Harrod retakes the lead. Up the inside goes car 01 Ash Sutton. Oh, you've got to give him room. Baxter had a gap, but he didn't take it into Arnage. And now Baxter back down to third. You can see the rusty labeler at the bottom of the screen. He's had to tow back to the pits, or has he's had to tow back to the pits, so something's happened. Shall we see what happened actually? Here is Layla. He's got an Automet car behind him. Oh, well, car 34, Rob Graham. Don't know what was going on there, but I'm sure there'll be words. Into the Porsche Curves again. It's now Sutton that's back at the front. Maybe we can have a look at that as well. Actually, this was going into the beginning of the Porsche Curves. Looks like he just was able to get the move done on Pete Harrod, and look, he's already escaping as they go through the final section of the Porsche Curves. Baxter still in third, and now it's McFadden that's trying to gate crash the party again. Let's not forget he was leading briefly at the start of this lap. I wonder if those cars behind can get involved somehow, especially if they all start going at it down the front straight. Joining me in the commentary box is Paul Smith. Paul, are you racing? I believe he is. I think he is, because he's still showing on my screen. Well, there you go. Thank you for joining me in the commentary box. Well, I hope to hear from Paul. 2 laps to go. And your team, CQR Academy, although, yeah. There you go. I was hoping I was right. 50-50 chance. Your former team are doing pretty well, Paul. It's Sutton and Harrod and Stuart McFadden, but it's Stephen Baxter that's right in the middle of them all there.
Chicane. The chicane with the name of the computer game that we won't mention here, as McFadden looking down the inside, not going to make it this time.
The game that's better than Gran Turismo, I think they call it. And immediately we've lost our PlayStation following. Out of the first chicane then, and here comes Stephen Baxter for second place. It's a fine art, this slipstreaming. I think we're seeing that so far already. Don't think Stuart McFadden wants to make it free wide, because he wants to help out his teammate here, Pete Harrod, and he's giving him a nice push down the straight here. However, that can turn pretty ugly if you get it wrong.
Yeah, that's the old NASCAR bump drafting going on there, isn't it? And it certainly helped Pete. And McFadden's looking at that one. He's going to have the inside here. Baxter's wide. Will they give each other room? Given how McFadden treats chicanes last week, he gave a bit of room this time. So as they're going side by side towards Mulsanne corner.
Well, they're at it here. Hopefully they don't do what I did to Paul at Summit Point, a few years back in the BSR World Series, where I just moved across in front of him. But McFadden does a good job there and is able to get into third place. So it's a CQR monopoly of the podium again. It's Sutton from Harrod and then McFadden behind. It's pretty close between Jamie Fluke and Colin Cunniff going into Mulsanne corner here. We've got the 2 GT Omega Northern Lights racing cars, plus it's 3 wide up in front. It's Alex Simpson versus Ross McFarlane versus Nicole Foggy, and Foggy's on the hard shoulder there, just trying to make sure that he doesn't get involved in what Alex and Ross are going to do here.
The problem with going down the hard shoulder is it's a lot bumpier than the main racetrack, and you can only really go too wide on the racetrack, and if you end up causing an accident from going from the hard shoulder, you're more likely to be adjudged at fault, so you've really got to be careful if you do make it 3 wide down those straights. But everyone able to keep calm, and Ross McFarlane under intense pressure from the Pro Championship driver, Alex Simpson.
Yeah, and Ross McFarlane having a huge amount of understeer going through Arnage, the slowest part on the circuit. Obviously, presumably you set these cars up for the speed. Yeah, the slow stuff, it's going to be a bit of a handful.
Well, Arnage is a really tricky corner anyway. It doesn't look as tight as it is, and it's so easy to just run wide into that tyre wall that's there on the exit, just waiting to get you. But so far, everybody's behaving and not really getting involved in that.
Through the Porsche Curves then, we were just saying before you came in, Paul, that they've been heavily changed again for this season. A lot more runoff area. And Alex pretty close on exit, and if you run out too far wide there, you do get a slowdown penalty.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so easy to pick up a slowdown penalty. I think I picked up about 7 in this race today so far. Into the Ford chicane again, another place where you can easily pick up a slowdown penalty. But it's so crucial to get the run out of the Ford chicane to carry the speed across the line. Ross McFarlane's done a better job of that than Alex Simpson. And Simpson under pressure, but behind them, Alex Everett under pressure from Jamie Fluke here.
Yeah, and he's with another Apex Racing UK car in Jamie Fluke, and another World Championship driver, I believe. As he goes through and up into 9th. Here comes Cunniff at a fair rate of knots. So here comes Jack Sedgwick as well. He was mighty at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve last week with the amount of overtakes. Sometimes he was too good at it, and he ended up getting disqualified on one occasion, I think. He's got Brian Holmes behind him as well.
If you're getting disqualified from overtaking, you're doing something wrong.
Oh. As I know at Imola, where I got 3 disqualifications out of 4. But on those occasions, I don't think I was doing any overtaking at all. I think I was just crashing into everybody. Through Tetra Rouge and onto the Mulsanne again. Final lap of the race, and it's pretty close again for second position. Here comes Stephen Baxter versus Stuart McFadden. As something's happened to Lee Deemer. I think he's just come into the pits with a lap to go, so that's unfortunate for him. But this final spot on the podium, it looks like it's going to be fought out between McFadden and Baxter, because Harrod and Sutton, it looks like those two may be off the road, but then again, we're only a third of the way down the Mulsanne pool. There's still a long way to go. Yeah,
absolutely, and McFadden needs the help. Why are you blocking? Just follow your teammates, Stuart.
Don't move across.
Your teammates, get the slipstream. This is where he needs his team to help him, and they're doing that. But why is he moving across to try and squeeze off Baxter? I don't understand that one. But anyway, into the second chicane. They're still side by side, giving each other room. A little bit of rubbing. More than a bit of rubbing there between the two of them. And that's really come off worse for McFadden, because he's lost his teammates now, but he's in the slipstream. Can he make a move into Mulsanne?
He was very lucky to escape a slowdown penalty there as well, I think. In the Le Mans 24-hour race, we used to cut that inside part of the circuit because our car was so slow after all the damage it picked up. We could serve the slowdown penalty and still have our foot to the floor. On the brakes, going into the Mulsanne corner for the final time. Oh, McFadden sliding about, so is Stephen Baxter, and it's the CQR Academy car that runs out a bit wide on exit. Now he's got one more opportunity to use the slipstream to his advantage before we get into Indianapolis and Arnage. And Indianapolis, Paul, you've got to try and brake and slow the car down, but you're trying to negotiate the fast right-hand kink as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's such a tricky corner. I mean, most of these corners around this track are really tricky. Oh, look at Baxter going defensive. McFadden around the outside. Surely he's not going to do that round here into Indianapolis. Oh, he's going off. Luckily, there's runoff there, though.
Back in the day, it was gravel there, and he probably would have dug in and rolled. But it's credit to Stuart McFadden for having a go. In the background, you can see that Ross McFarlane is still holding back Alex Simpson and the entire world, it looks like. Because, oh, and he hits him. Take that, says Alex. That's
the old bumper run! Oh, Jamie!
He's been sandwiched.
How did they sort each other out there? I do not know.
Well, this has definitely helped Jack Sedgwick, who's coming along at a fair rate of knots. He's gained 22, make that 23 positions. Thought someone was DQ'd. Someone got DQ'd there, or not. It looks like they're back again. Oh, it's still not over. Sedgwick is up into 9th place. Alex Simpson definitely not learning those moves from the iRacing World Championship Series. Going through the final. Oh, Porsche Curves, it's too wide between Cunniff and Holmes. That's not advisable. It's going to be Holmes that looks like he's going to hold on. Meanwhile, Ash Sutton is en route to victory. Into the Ford chicane for the final time. It's not going to be a complete CQR wipe out of the podium, but it is going to be a 1-2 for the CQR Club team through the final chicane. Definitely you don't want to slow down because there's no time to serve it. And Ash Sutton wins the opening race of the day. Harrod 2nd, Baxter 3rd, Baker 4th, McFadden 5th, Alex Simpson in 6th, Alex Everett 7th, 8th for Ross McFarlane, Jack Sedgwick a great final lap to get 9th, and Jamie Fluke rounding out the top 10.
Yeah, all got a bit chaotic there, didn't it, between that second pack? But great racing from the lot of them there. Across the line, a few others as well. And Wojciech Savinovic down there in 20th place. I know he started down in 34th, so that's a good recovery, but it's not really been his season this season, has it?
Yeah, Apex have taken a long time to get going here, just because of Savinovic's internet woes in the opening few race meetings and a few crashes that they kept getting involved in for some reason. But yeah, it looks like hopefully things get better for them because we won an exciting teams championship. Tyler Lugo Vickery, the American, the Floridian as well. I think that's what you call a person from Florida. Comes across the line and takes 38th place. In his,
you are correct.
Very good. I know you have probably a few more American colleagues over on RaceSpot that would help you, advise you on that. But yeah, Hadfield 40.
No, I just watch a lot of American TV. Let's get it right.
There you go. CSI Miami's my one, but I don't think they call anyone Floridians in that one. But yeah,
I will say Lee Deemer having to pit on the start of that last lap. He got involved in an incident very early on in the race with Scott Malcolm, I believe it was, down at Indianapolis on the fast right-hander into there. I think it was lap 2. It happened just in front of me, and I don't like to apportion blame, but the two of them got together, shall we say, and there was a quarter panel involved.
What did you look? Were you able to see what happened to your former teammate in Laidler at all?
No, I didn't actually.
Okay.
I don't know what happened there with him, so he probably a bit upset with how things are going because he absolutely got hammered in the penalties, did Rusty? Oh
dear. So could we expect him to be at the back of the grid for the next 2 races potentially?
I think the next 2 weeks probably.
Oh.
After Canada.
I wonder if we'll be seeing him in the interview room later then. Well, the reverse grid isn't too far away, but we've got to run you through the final results from the opening race of the day. Let's get them up. Race victory then for Ash Sutton. Pete Harrod 2nd, 3rd for Stephen Baxter. Championship leader doing pretty well there. Dave Baker keeping him at arm's length in 4th. Just 9/10 of a second between them in the end. Then Stuart McFadden 5th, Alex Simpson in 6th, getting his elbows out towards the end to finish ahead of Ross McFarlane in 8th. Alex Everett was in 7th. Then Jack Sedgwick getting into the top 10 in the end after starting down the order. I don't think he was allowed to set a time in qualifying because he was banned from it. Jamie Fluke in 10th. A good recovery drive actually from Jamie because he was in and amongst the midfield on the opening lap of the race. Did collide with a Youth Energy car as well, so a penalty could potentially head his way for next week. Nicole Foggy in 11th, Brian Holmes 12th, 13th place for Colin Cunniff, then the highest Pro-Am driver in Dan Brown, Then Christian Rose 15th, 16th for Anna McNally, then Jack McIntyre, Chris Wood, 19th place for Carly Jansen, despite getting hit into by Mark Woodhouse. Wojciech Svidovic, reigning champion, finishing in 20th place. Then 3 Pro-Am drivers in Max Wright, the aforementioned Woodhouse, and John Roberts, who slammed into the back of Nathan Davis earlier on the opening lap of the race. Kip Stevens, 2-time champion, 24th, along with Jamie Rushworth, another champion in 25th. Rushworth's teammate Michael Hall finishing in 26th place. Then it's Nathan Davis 28th, Mark Johnston 29th, and 30th for William Daniels. Josh Thompson in 31st place in the boosted car. 32nd for Craig Williams, then Lorne Murray, then Jake Blackhall in 34th, Julian Janowski in 35th, 36th Michael Blake, then Dave Crozier, then Scott Malcolm, Adam Hadfield, Rob Graham, Laura Bond, Sven Glatzel, then Tyler Lugo Vickery, Martin Front, Lee Deemer, and then Laidler, Paul Smith. So Paul and Adam Delmont, after getting hit into at the start of the race, finishing at the rear. Right, my reverse grid, looking at it, Paul, if we do get a full -1, it will be... I know you've probably got the sim open, so you'll be able to something. That'll be Martin Front, yeah, full -1, because Deemer...
Lee Deemer would be full.
Yeah, would be full. So glad I've got a confirmation on that. Right, let's get the wheel up and see if we can spin it and see who's going to be on pole. Unfortunately, this won't help you too much, Paul.
Well, you know, it's character building.
There you go. There you go. Right. I've got to find it first. I think it's in this folder.
Well, whilst you're doing that, I can tell you that Russell Laidler got involved with Rob Graham going down to the second chicane on lap number 3, and they got turned around there. So that's the reason why he went out of the race there.
Didn't know whether anything previous led to that, but yeah, they did. They were stuck together for a little bit going through there. Right, reverse grid then. There it is, and let's spin it. It's going to be a very small one. Oh, well, no bias in this commentary box, but it is a delightful reverse grid wheel for Wojciech Svidovic. He's on the pole because it's 20. That is right, Paul. Svidovic did finish in 20th. Yep. So here's
Jansen second place.
Oh yeah, 2 drivers
good
that
result. Yeah, good result for him. They both came from the back of the grid there. Chris Wood third as well on the grid with Jack McIntyre, rounding up the two front rows. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Paul. And yeah, good luck in the second race. And
I'll lead it.
It's all about that reverse grid for the final race, Paul. That's what you got to go for, I think. But
yeah, give me a nice big reverse grid for the next for the final race, mate.
Yeah, we'll try. But yeah, that is it from the opening race of the day here in the BSRTC here at Circuit de la Sarthe. We're going to go away and get ourselves set for the second race, and we'll see you after the break here on Apex Racing TV. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the BSRTC here at Circuit de la Sarthe in Le Mans. We're getting set for the second race of the day. They were taking their time on the warm-up, so I thought we'd just go ahead and advance it. There's something else to be doing anyway. Right, Adam Bath here with Sam Fitzpatrick in the commentary box. So Sam's getting set for the next two races. I can tell you it's been an entertaining evening so far. Sam, we're running through the grid. It's Savinovic on pole with Carl Janssen in second, as deafened by the French Air Force. Chris Wood in third. Jack McIntyre fourth. Fifth is Adam McNally. Sixth on the grid is Christian Rose. There we go. Went blind for a second there. Then it's Dan Brown, Colin Cunniff, Brian Holmes, Nicole Foggy, Jamie Fluke and Jack Sedgwick rounding out the top 10. Le Mans then, Sam, much experience of racing around this track? Done any of the big 24-hour long events?
Yeah, I've done a couple, one for Neo and one for the special events. Of course, hello everyone. The jets are bloody loud, aren't they? Yeah, of course, this is one of the best racetracks in the world. Awesome for sprint racing, awesome for endurance racing, and I'm sure the racing out there is going to be awesome. 20 car reverse grid, I think you were saying just before we went live, and we are away.
Yeah, so Savinovic didn't start from the pole, so he must have had some sort of. Oh, don't want that. That's he must have started from the pit lane. Must have been a penalty, but away, and it's Chris Wood that's made a fantastic jump. He's already into the lead. He's gained 2 places. Jack McIntyre getting 2 as well. Colin Cunniff's up 5 before we even get to the first chicane, and he could make it 6. He's up the inside of the Youth Energy car. McIntyre trying to do everything he can to stop him, and running the Northern Lights Racing car out wide there as we go through the S's. McIntyre trying to stay in that second position. Cars sliding about all over the place in the cold conditions. McIntyre at it again as we go towards Tetra Rouge. There's a few Scuderia Haggis cars going at it. Jack Sedgwick's already at 3 places. And there's a Apex car behind him in Brian Holmes as we get on the brakes. Also Ross McFarlane there too. But as we go through Tetra Rouge onto the Morse. Oh, crash! It's our leader! It's Colin. It's not. It was our leader. It's that's Carl Janssen, isn't it? Sam.
Yeah, incredible. P2 on the grid, and yep, took the lead early on, I think, off the line, but yep, fallen right down there. I don't know quite what happens, but big crash down the Mulsanne.
Oh, it's a big one.
Massive crash in the background.
Well, I would say bring out a safety car, but it's just carrying on.
We have the power to do that.
Well, it's just it's such a short race. I didn't want to ruin it. It says McIntyre out. Don't worry, there's stuff going on. Right, let's try and work out what happened then. May start with what happened to Carl Janssen first. Actually, we've got a whole lap to work this out. How do I pause it? There we go. Right, first of all, Carl Janssen. Helps if I get a camera on him. I think I might have gone a bit too far forward, you know. Position changes everywhere here. Just trying to find the moment he went off.
Yeah, I don't really know what happened. It must have been like some kind of contact, so I think it may have been all by himself in the end.
Here we go. This is it. Oh, he gets quarter panelled by Cunniff. Right, next, it's the next person we need to look at is Janowski, I think. Right, let's see what happened here. Oh, it's 3 wide in front. Yeah, it's 3 wide in front, and it's one of the CQ Academy cars that gets speared off into the Armco, and then it all just escalates from there. There's a Immortal car involved, one of the new guys that might have been Will Daniels, and Janowski goes for a hell of a ride, the Bulgarian. Not enjoying that, but what this means is that Chris Wood continues to lead the race. Adam McNally is going at it with Jack Sedgwick as well as they go towards Indianapolis. Sam.
Yeah, Sedgwick up 7 positions already, and he makes that one stick on McNally for now. So could be an opportunity here for Jack to get a podium at the very least. Jamie Fluke is up 8 positions himself, from 11th on the grid up into 3rd, and he might go for another position here. Going down into the Porsche Curves, he should have a much better run, and just behind Nicole Foggy is going to try to get involved in this one as well. Fluke's already got the move down in the Apex Racing car, and yeah, can just move on to Chris Wood just ahead.
Apex are desperate for a win, I know that much, but Team Mad, they haven't took too many wins recently either, so Quite a few drivers here that will be eager to get one on the board, as Chris Wood using all of the circuit there, going through the entry into Porsche Curves, and clips the barrier on the exit there of the first part of the Porsche Curves a good measure as well. But it's Wood that leads, Fluke second, McIntyre third, Foggy fourth, Sedgwick fifth. Then it's the first of the Pro-Am drivers in Adam McNally. Then Brian Holmes, Christian Rose, Alex Everett, Dan Brown. We'll show you how far all these drivers have gained positions when we get around to complete the opening lap of the race. Ash Sutton is just at the back of the shots. That's him that's going all over the place, trying to get those positions going into the forward chicane. He's gained 8 places. Other big gainers include Rushworth, Johnston, Thompson as well, and Williams and Michael Blake as we get the first lap completed.
Luke's just dropped a couple of positions. He's got a really bad run. I think he may have got a slowdown, did he? Oh. Yeah, he's still losing time up there. So, and another car just on the inside there. And Jamie Fluke's kind of perhaps lost a chance at a race victory here because he was right in second position, got an awesome start, but that slowdown's cost him really bad. He's down into P6 now, and it's now Nicole Foggy and Jack Sedgwick who'll be charging down the leading Chris Wood.
If you get it on the opening lap, it can be an absolute killer here because you get handed such a hefty penalty, and for Jamie Fluke that now means that he is about 3 seconds away from the lead of this race. But fortunately for him, most of the cars in front all have a decent tow, so with a bit of luck he could get right back up there again. But here comes Jack Sedgwick on the way towards the first chicane. He's got Nicole Foggy in front, and then it's Chris Wood. Foggy, who didn't set a time in qualifying because he wasn't allowed to, he's going to fly by the car with the Union flag on the top of Chris Wood. And Sedgwick, he wants all of them.
This is brave. I thought he might go down the middle, but here comes Sedgwick down the inside. Can he possibly stop for the first Mulsanne chicane? He can't really. He's off the circuit, but he's not going to get a great run. Almost stops Foggy on the apex though, and now it's Chris Wood who's going to have the slipstream. It's
almost like one of those moves at Monaco, going into the Nouvelle chicane. Mark, be careful. It's 3 wide. It was also getting pretty hairy behind, but it looks like no one crashed as a result. And Chris Wood now is back into the lead as we go into the Michelin chicane here, or is he? Because Foggy, he's pretty good on the brakes, and he goes up the inside. But Chris Wood holds his own around the outside there and is able to hold on to it. But we were talking just before they went on to the Mulsanne, Sam, about how Jamie Fluke isn't out of this just yet, and look at that, he's right back within about a second of them all again.
Yeah, definitely, and unless we get a streak away from this one, I think it's going to be very, very close to the end. But here comes Foggy, once again down to the inside, going into Mulsanne corner, and can Sedgwick maybe following through here? Wood's got to be careful, he doesn't drop down to 30, he's going to try to hang on to the lead, he's going to be offline here. Can he duck back into the slipstream now? Who does Foggy give the slipstream to? He's got 2 options, and still no. It's side by side. It's 1 by 1. So, and Wood's going to try to fight back once again.
Oh, I saw a few drivers using the hard shoulder in the opening race of the day, and Paul Smith, who was in here just before, was contact in the background. I could see Ash Sutton having all sorts of issues here. This is with Alex Simpson. These two have got a history, I think, and Alex is going to go round him on the outside. Be careful, Alex. Please don't end this in disaster. Sutton up the inside. Alex is trying his best to hold on. Alex is technically off the circuit. Sutton gives him just enough room for manoeuvre, and this might not end here going into Arnage. Just about does. I think that we might call a truce on that one for now, because that was getting all sorts of entertaining just there. But look at this again. It's 2 wide for the lead. It's Nicole Foggy versus Chris Wood. Then it's Jack Sedgwick, who's trying to keep behind some more Apex cars in Jamie Fluke and Brian Holmes. And now Wood trying to get the lead again into the Porsche Curves.
Yeah, Foggy managed to get the move down into Indianapolis, I think. And unfortunately, Wood hasn't been able to, or unfortunately for him, hasn't been able to respond quite into Porsche Curves. But as long as he can just stay close to this part of the circuit, which he is doing very, very easily currently, he'll have a chance down into the Mulsanne chicanes. And actually, Fluke has gained a couple of positions on this lap. You're right not to count him out. He's back up into P4 and right onto the tail of these guys.
Yeah, he's gained 7 positions, Jamie Fluke. I don't know why we haven't got more info on him there. Just says he's gained 7 places. I think that's there's something wrong with the timing. But yeah, going through the forward chicane, all line astern through here, unless it's some sort of last lap dive bomb. And now on to lap 3 of the race, or maybe even lap 4. No, it is lap 3. Fastest lap of the race, Nicole Foggy there. That's immediately beaten by Brian Holmes, 4:14. Then Dave Baker, 4:13. We said earlier that these cars usually are about a minute slower than the LMP1. Sedgwick up the inside, makes a corner, and that is second place. Perfectly timed move there. And if we look back on the replay from the nose, sees the gap, goes for it, and makes sure that the Bodek car slides right in front of not Mark Woodhouse, Chris Wood into second place.
Yeah, absolutely superb. It wasn't good enough just to make that move because he couldn't afford to lose any more time to Foggy, so he had to get that one stuck on the apex, not lose too much time. Here's side by side. McNally just ahead of Rose and Everett. Everett's gone up 6 positions himself, and Sutton and Simpson just behind these guys, and they're going 2 by 2 down the Mulsanne.
This is the only French circuit on the iRacing service, and of course it is the French Grand Prix this weekend, taking place in a whole different part of France, near the beach, I think, in Port Ricard in France. And Nicole Foggy is having to hold on because Jack Sedgwick is coming, and he's up to second place. Now Chris Wood is having to do the defending from Jamie Fluke here as they go through the Forza chicane. Oh, and Sedgwick slowdown penalty. Well, I said he was coming for Nicole Foggy, but he's now going to have to regroup and hope that all this group here can mount some sort of challenge. Of course, Nicole Foggy won't be able to reach the top speeds that all of these cars can because he's got no help at all. Yeah,
absolutely, but it's still going to be difficult because Wood is having to defend for his life. Clearly doesn't quite have the same pace as these guys. Around the outside goes Fluke. Was down to 7th just about a lap ago, but he's looking to get into that second position now. Brian Holmes is looking very, very quick just behind it, side by side from about... Simpson's just gained 4 positions there. He's gone from 11th to 7th, and so too has Sutton, just randomly gone up about 4 positions. A couple of drivers have lost out. Rose and Everett lost out down the Mulsanne, and it's still going on here, down into Mulsanne corner.
Yeah, this might not end well. There's a CQR Academy car there. That's Christian Rose. Just in front, just behind Alex Simpson's Adam McNally, Pro-Am driver. Then it's Baker. Then it's Alex Everett. Oh, he's making contact with the CQR Academy car. Rose is trying to distance himself from the Northern Lights Racing GT Omega entry as they go down the second part of the straight. Alex has got real company here in the Youth Energy car, and so has Brian Holmes, and with Jack Sedgwick and the Team Mad car. Here comes Chris Wood on Jamie Fluke. This is music to Nicole Foggy's ears here. He can just dash off up the road. Oh, off is Wood. He's back on again. Here comes one of the CQR Academy, the CQR Club cars. It must be Ash Sutton, and it is. Into Arnage. Sedgwick just trying to stay out of it here, and he sort of does. And Ash Sutton up into 4th place. He won the opening race of the day. The gap to the lead is 3.1 seconds. Surely can't do it here with 2 laps to go. Sam, he's going to get second here, he's going to get third in a minute here.
Well, he could certainly get second, and yeah, third, looking very possible. Holmes defend. He wants to help out his teammate, if anything. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to do so. He needs to hang around the outside here. Does Jamie Fluke, but through goes Ashley Sutton with ease in the end. He was down in 10th position going on to the Mulsanne. And look at him now, up into P3, up 17 positions from where he started, and bring on Jamie Fluke.
Yeah, he's got to close down Fluke now. The gap is a second between them. Oh, all 4 wheels off the circuit there, Chris Wood. Sometimes that can give you a slowdown penalty. Sometimes they can be pretty lenient. I haven't raced this track in quite a while, actually, but it does look like a slowdown penalty, and also a slowdown penalty for Dave Baker as well. You can see the CQR Club car there having to back off, and it's allowed Dan Brown through as well. So Baker down to 13th place after all that. That is still 4 positions higher than where he started. Alex Simpson's gone off the track apparently. Might have just put a few wheels into the dirt on the exit. And it looks like that Chris Wood still hasn't served that slowdown. He's still dropping down positions.
Oh, this is painful for Wood because he was defending so well for that second place. And now he's dropped all the way down to 12th. Could be even further, and he still hasn't served it. This is so annoying. Maybe he has now holds on to that P12, and yeah, it's just really a shame because he was driving awesomely beforehand, but now top 10 is going to look very difficult now.
When you get to that part of the circuit, it does start flashing on the screen, and you know that you've got to serve it. It's not over yet. Here comes Dave Baker up the inside. car 5 trying to get past Chris Wood into Tetra Rouge, and through goes the CQR Club car, but he might get a decent run here because he took a pretty good line despite having to let the CQR Club car through, and he's trying to make the most of it here down the first part of the Mulsanne. I can tell you that Ash Sutton and Brian Holmes are very, very close indeed as they build up the speed. Might be worth having a look at it actually here. That's Jack Sedgwick, that's not Ash Sutton. I think it was Brian Holmes actually battling with Sedgwick rather than Sutton battling with Holmes into the first chicane. That's that battle sorted. Or is it? Sedgwick didn't get the best line through there. And that's going to allow Brian Holmes the opportunity to get back on him. Baker and Chris Wood, it looks like... oh, where's Wood gone? Oh, he's cut the chicane, hasn't he?
Another driver actually cut the chicane as well. Not sure who that was.
Was it a Simmortal car? Was it Johnston? Yeah, it was Mark Johnston. Yeah,
there you go, yeah.
Cut the chicane. Right, second part of the Mulsanne. This is Alex Everett trying to hold back Ross McFarlane, and at the same time Christian Rose is getting past Adam McNally. So that's Rose up into 9th, who was higher than that at some point in the race, because he was meant to start in about 6th place, but things have gone on since then. And now McFarlane wants to get past Alex Everett here as we go up over the top of the hill and on the way into Mulsanne Corner. Saw a few big crashes here over the years in the Le Mans 24 Hours. Anthony Davidson most notably had one here on the brakes, and Ross McFarlane through. So that is the Northern Lights Racing GT Omega car with the V-Racer sponsorship on it up into 7th place as the battle for 4th continues.
Yeah, really good drive from Everett there, and up into P8 now. Here is Sedgwick then, trying to hold back Holmes. Can he maybe pressure Sutton? I doubt it, to be honest. Well, he's got half a second to catch up, and actually the lead is down to 0.8 of a second. Foggy, quite a bit slower than Fluke and Sutton. And of course, you were talking earlier, Adam, about maybe Sutton winning this one. Well, if the two leaders start fighting against each other, which I think they will on the next lap, you know, he could be right in the box seat.
Yeah, we've got 1.5 laps to go here as we go for our nudge. We're on the return leg back to the start-finish line. Ash Sutton, 17 positions gained for the CQR Club car. Jamie Fluke is within 0.8 of a second, so that is most definitely within striking distance. And you can see from the battle graphics as well, well, for a brief moment it included all 5 of them. But yeah, as things stand, we've got a 2-car scrap for the lead. But this is a 13-kilometre circuit. Oh, as Foggy clips that wall going through the first part of the Porsche Curves. Yeah, this is a 13-kilometre circuit, so a lot can happen inside this final lap, which we're about to start in a few corners' time. Through the final part of the Porsche Curves, using all the curb on the exit. And maybe not even rule out some of these cars behind in this battle for the podium position. Christian Rose is 1/10 of a second away from Alex Everett, as Everett just got by him again. That looks the case as Dave Baker looks up the inside of Dan Brown going into the first part of the Ford chicane, trying to set up the Scuderia Haggis car in front. For the final corner goes the champion. New fastest lap of the race by Jack Sedgwick as we go on board with Dave Baker here. Can he get a move done into the first corner? You can see a lot of damage to the rear of the Scuderia Haggis car. Someone's obviously taken a hit to the back. You can see how these cars slide about going through that first kink. And now under braking, Baker using all those curbs, and what a move!
Oh, brilliant. What a run he got through there. Just a little bit offline from Brown, wasn't it? But it wasn't, you know, a terrible line. Just missed the apex ever so slightly. But absolutely nailed the speed through that did Baker, and yeah, up into P11.
Top 10 potentially within sight, especially with 2/3 of the lap still to go. Right then, it is 0.3 of a second between Nicole Foggy and Jamie Fluke. Foggy has led pretty much since the start of the race after he got past Chris Wood on the opening lap. Surely doesn't want to lose this as we get on the brakes into the Forza chicane for the final time. Of course, we've got race 3 still to come, so another reverse grid in the offing here. I can tell you that Paul Smith, that was with us in the comms box earlier, has gained 19 places and currently sits in 27th. So we get another medium-sized reverse grid. It could be him on the pole, but as we go out to the first chicane then, Nicole Foggy, 3/10 of a second in hand. Ash Sutton a further second behind. It'll be interesting to see if he can close that gap up by the time we get to the end of the race. And he could maybe even spring an attack on the exit of the Porsche Curves before we get to the Ford chicane. But here comes Jamie Fluke. He's got the overspeed now, Sam. It's probably going to be all about Mulsanne Corner as things stand. Or,
yeah, it's pretty clear that he's just backing up at the moment. This may be his chance, but Foggy just about slows him up on the apex. Now defend, Foggy, defend. He's not defending, and now here goes Fluke, and Foggy's left himself a bit vulnerable here. Of course, I think either way, I think Fluke's probably going to get the move down into Mulsanne Corner. It's all about can Foggy respond, because Fluke's been waiting down the Mulsanne. He does now take the lead. Sutton's 7/10 behind these guys. He could still get involved now. Foggy's got to absolutely nail this corner. Stay close, and now get into the slipstream. Is he going to have enough overspeed coming down into Indianapolis?
Well, I think he knew that he probably didn't have enough to live with Jamie Fluke on the exit of the second chicane, just because it was pretty poor by Nicole Foggy's standards. Here they go. The overspeed is definitely hit now. Nicole Foggy is surely going to breeze back into the lead. Jamie Fluke knows it. It's all going to be about who has the bottle. Sutton is braking down the straight. I don't know why. Maybe he wants to stay out of it.
Oh, into the wall, surely. Oh my goodness.
Well, Nicole Foggy, credit to him. He made sure he stopped before Jamie Fluke flew back across the circuit, and Nicole Foggy leads. But could Ash Sutton maybe spring an attack? We'll look at the replay at the end of the race, because this could all still change. Jamie Fluke has got going again. I think he has. Yeah, he's in 14th place. So it's still potentially salvageable. Well, not the win, but a finish anyway. And what drama there. Maybe that's why Sutton was breaking down the back straight. He knew something was going to kick off there. He's now got to have the Porsche Curves of his life here if he wants to close this 6/10 of a second gap down to try and take this lead away from Nicole Foggy. But Foggy looks like he might have it in the bag here as they go for the final few corners.
It's looking good for him. Simpson's up into third, and struggling is Holmes. Here's Sedgwick then, and yeah, Sedgwick just going past McFarlane was that, and yeah, just winning out that one. Something happens to Sedgwick, I think.
Yeah, Sedgwick looking pretty slow there, but Nicole Foggy coming through the forward chicane, through the final corner. Sutton's right with him, but he can't do anything about it. Nicole Foggy wins a dramatic second race of the day here at Circuit de la Sarthe. Third for Alex Simpson. He gets a podium. Fourth for Brian Holmes. Who's going to get fifth? It is Jack Sedgwick. Sixth for Ross McFarlane. Seventh, Alex Everett. Eighth, Dave Baker. Ninth, Christine Rose. And 10th, Adam McNally. It is, oh my goodness me, it's three wide across the line. It's Craig Williams in 18th. 19th, Stephen Baxter. And 20th, Miguel Freitas in a 100-metre dash or so to the line there. It's still pretty close here between Lee Deemer and Lorne Murray. 3/10 of a second in it here with a lot of damage to the Automech car. Can it make it through the final chicane and keep the Sim Auto car at bay? Oh, he's going for it. Oh, touched. There you go.
And the car just behind, I don't know who that was. Just was very polite and just waited for them to sort themselves out. And yeah,
might have been Scott Malcolm.
Yeah, just very courteous there of Malcolm, just to yeah.
Could be courteous, could be strategic with the reverse grid.
Yes.
Still in contention. Yeah, we'll wait and see on that one. But right, now that everybody has crossed the line, actually no, we're waiting on Laura. Laura's just come across the line now. I think it's Pete Harrod actually we're waiting on. Here he comes across the line, a lot of damage, and he finishes there in 37th. Right, let's take a look then. Jamie Fluke. Let's have a look on this replay. Well, that's him off the circuit. I think what we're looking for is the moment they took that Nicole Foggy took the lead back. Just got to try and find it first. Here we go. Right, let's see if we can get a different angle, because this is the one we had earlier. Right, let's see if we can go from the chopper here. This is in slow motion. Nicole Foggy. Don't think there's anything he could have done wrong there. I think. I don't know what you think, Sam, on that.
Oh yeah, but no problem. In the end, I think Fluke wanted to, you know, make it around the outside, and he had to kind of close him in a little bit. Nothing wrong by Foggy then. Actually, Foggy did so well not to be collected, because you can probably see, there you go, I think he just got on the brakes ever so slightly, didn't he? And just to avoid the car that was steering right in front of his bonnet. And yeah, did an awesome job there. But yeah, just a racing incident. Certainly no blame on either driver. But you got to go for the win in that situation, you know, and maybe a little bit further up the grid maybe for the next race will Jimmy Fluke.
Well, credit to the fortune. I'd like to see whose fortune teller Ash Sutton has, because you could see Sutton getting on the brakes down the back straight. You could see they were going too wide going into Indianapolis, and he was able to take full advantage. He didn't get the win, but it did mean that he did finish. And I wonder if he was running it close with incidents or something, because if he got involved, he could have maybe even been DQ'd. Right then, that is it from the second race. Let's run you through the finishing order then. From another brilliant race in the BSRTC. It just doesn't change, does it? Don't know why MCI, McIntyre's name, just keeps showing up there on the timing tower. Let's see if we can get everything off. There we go. Race results then. Foggy wins, Sutton second, third for Alex Simpson, then his teammate Brian Holmes in fourth, Jack Sedgwick finishing in fifth, sixth for Ross McFarlane, seventh Alex Everett, eighth Dave Baker, ninth Christian Rose, and 10th Adam McNally. 11th place finish for Colin Cunniff, Dan Brown in 12th, 13th for Jamie Fluke in the end, 14th for Michael Hall and Stuart McFadden. Michael Blake gained 19 positions to finish in 16th, then Craig Williams 17th, Stephen Baxter, the championship leader, in 18th, then Jack McIntyre in then Miguel Freitas 19th and 20th Jack McIntyre. Chris Wood finishing in 21st, Kip Stevens 22nd, 23rd for Mark Johnston, 24th for Max Schreitz, 25th for Sven Glatzel, 26th place for Wojciech Svidovic in the end, who started from the pit lane. A penalty, it looked like, there for Svidovic. That's why he didn't start on the pole. Then it was Jamie Rushworth behind him in 27th. Paul Smith gained 18 positions to finish in 28th place. He said he didn't like these slipstreaming circuits, but it worked out well for him there. 29th for Tyler Lugo Vickery, then Lorne Murray in 30th. Lee Deemer gaining 13 positions to finish in 31st. Then Scott Malcolm 32nd. Josh Thompson, we haven't talked much about him today, finished in 33rd. Probably because he's got he's had to work his way up through the back, hasn't he? Rusty Laidler in 34th. 35th place for Laura Bond, then Adam Hadfield in 36th. Then Pete Harrod in 37th place. 38th for Martin Front. 39th for Dave Crozier. 40th for John Roberts. 41st Rob Graham. Most of these cars involved in that mess on the Mulsanne. Then Woodhouse, Janssen off in Tetra Rouge. Then Will Daniels, Jake Blackhall, Julian Janowski and Adam Delmont. If we do get a full -1, what I can see says it says it's going to be Adam Hadfield that's going to be on the pole. If we do get a full -1, that's what it looks like for me. And Delmont finishing right at the back. So it is the reverse grid. Let's get it up and let's find out who's going to be on pole position for the final race of the day. Oh, no, it's not going to be 20 again, is it? It is. Well, 220s. It's Jack McIntyre on the pole for the final race of the day. And what does the rest of the top 5 look like, Sam?
Yeah, it'll be McIntyre and then Freitas, Baxter, Williams, and Blake. So, yeah, should be a good one. Fluke, after that crash, I said that he would be a little bit further up on the grid. I think he'll be starting in P7, so he'll certainly fancy his chances up there.
Definitely. But with the slipstreaming at Le Mans, nothing is for certain, and that is one of the reasons, among many, why you should join us after the break here on Apex Racing TV for the final race of the day here in the British Sim Racers Touring Car Championship. Welcome back to Apex Racing TV. As you see the French Air Force go over the racetrack, bit wasted really, wasted jet fuel because we're having to abandon this session and get ready for another one. I think someone hasn't been able to get into the session, so we're going to be another few minutes here, but we will get the final race of the day in the BSRTC underway in a few moments. So yeah, we'll be back in a few minutes where we'll be getting this race underway. Welcome back to Apex Racing TV. We're finally getting this final race of the day in the BSRTC underway. Jack McIntyre starts on the pole position. Joining me in the commentary box for the final race of the day, as you can see the French Air Force again flying overhead, is alongside me, Adam Bath, Fitzpatrick. McIntyre starts on the pole then after another 20-car reverse grid. Then it's Freitas, Baxter, Williams, Blake, then McFadden, Hall, Fluke, Brown, Cunniff, McNally, and Christian Rose rounding out the top 12. Did say before the break, Sam, that Jamie Fluke is the name that stands out to you. Reckon he can get it done in this final race? It's still going to be tough.
Yeah, he certainly had opportunities in that second race, got a slowdown, which really compromised him, and then had a chance to take the lead into Indianapolis, so he'll certainly be looking for vengeance. And yeah, he's certainly up there with the favourites, I think, going into this final race of the day.
Here we go. Watch for the lights. We're underway. McIntyre flies off the line. It's a good start from Stephen Baxter, though. Could try and get the lead here. Look at all those cars, and great start. One of the Apex cars in the background as well. It's too wide for the lead then, going into the first corner. It looks like the sunset conditions are in effect here. The conditions will still be a bit cold. Into the first corner then. Oh, they touch a little bit, but it is Baxter that gets the lead. The championship leader is through. McIntyre down to second place, and now here comes Stuart McFadden. He's won the last 2 race free, says McFadden. Could he make it 3 in a row here as Jamie Fluke is under pressure from Miguel Freitas going through the S's. And now on the way towards Tetra Rouge. Almost contact there between the T-Mad car and the Apex car. Now, are we going to have a big crash here? We had one in race 2. Flying around the outside went Stuart McFadden there. He's up into second place. We saw some big crashes here in the warm-up as well before we went back live. Now down the Mulsanne straight. Looks like everybody's behaving for now, Sam, but we are at pretty high speeds, and if you do get it wrong, it's going to be a big one.
Yes, as we saw in race 2, we do not want to see that once again. Or maybe we do. But yeah, awesome start from McFadden. He's really sweep around the outside there, and Freitas side by side here, trying to come back at McIntyre. So McIntyre, yeah, hasn't been an awesome start for him. He's yeah, just struggled a little bit to hold on to that couple of positions, missed a couple of apexes, and once you do that, you leave yourself very vulnerable, and all going on down here.
Yeah, Sedgwick off in the wall. That was Jack Sedgwick. How did this happen? Oh dear. Well, let's see what happens here on the replay. This is from the chopper. He is behind. Oh, he's going to get clattered into by an academy car, isn't he? Don't know which one that was. Looks like it was Christian Rose because he's lost 30 positions and he's had to stay back to the pits. Right, through the second chicane. That's how quickly it takes them to get to each chicane here. We can look at a replay and they're still on the Mulsanne. Jamie Fluke up 3 positions to 5th. Can he make it another place up to 4th here as we go towards Mulsanne corner? 5 different teams in the top 5 places, 6 different teams, 7 different teams in the top 7. Northern Lights Racing GT Omega, then CQR Academy, Youth Energy, Team Mad, Apex Racing UK, Sim Auto, and then Pro Sim. Shows the competitiveness of the BSRTC, even with the reverse grid, as Stephen Baxter runs through the gravel on the exit of Mulsanne corner. This could be an opportunity for Stuart McFadden.
Slow down for someone.
Oh yeah, for Michael Blake.
Michael Blake, yeah. He's already had a couple of slowdowns, I think, today. But yeah, also decent race 2 for him. But yeah, falling down the order now. McFadden trying to stay close. And yeah, is Baxter under pressure from McFadden. And round the outside he goes. And it could be 3 from 3.
Oh!
And he's just a bit wide. And that's good defense from Baxter. Can he hold it round the outside here? Just needs to keep ever so slightly alongside. He's more than alongside. He's got fully ahead. But to the inside now, not quite. Had the opportunity. Almost Fluke making the move there on Freitas. But McIntyre's done well to hold on to P3 as well. Still the top 5. Pretty much staying the same.
Very close there. The way Indianapolis is banked, it helped Baxter there, but he may be about to run out of help because here comes Stuart McFadden up the inside into the Porsche Curves. He's done it. For now, anyway, he leads. Baxter in second now. Third is McIntyre. Then it's Freitas, Fluke, Williams, Hall, Cunniff, Baker, and McFarlane running out the top 10 as go for the Porsche Curves. Good starts from Paul Smith and Tyler Lugo Vickery. They've both gained 10 places each. And can Jack McIntyre get back involved in this? I hear contact on the exit of Porsche Curves. Doesn't look like anything too much has happened. There's a Team Mad car that's off. But it's now the top three. Oh, there's a slowdown penalty for someone as well. It's one of the Northern Lights Racing Scuderia Haggis cars. Is it Dan Brown? It is. And he's lost a few places as well as they go through the final chicane to complete the opening lap.
Fleet has got a slowdown, I think, as well. Went way off the circuit coming out of the Porsche Curves, and yeah, he's still serving it. First lap thing, and that's cost him so bad. He was just side by side with Jamie Fluke, costing each other loads and loads of time. And in the end, he was forced off the circuit a little bit and picked up the slowdown. So really frustrating there for him. But yeah, he had a chance at maybe a podium out there, but still really close out here. Baxter stays super close to McFadden. McFadden clearly doesn't have enough pace to pull away. So as long as these two are leading, we're going to have a race-long battle to the checkered flag.
Yeah, looking pretty exciting as things stand on lap 2 of 5. Now to Tetra Rouge. You'd think it would just be these two for now, but just watch how McIntyre and Fluke will close in on these two down the first part of the Mulsanne. Baxter then. Here it is from the chopper, he's going for it. McFadden moves straight back over to the left-hand side because he knows that Baxter's coming through. It's all going to be about who's better on the brakes here as we go into the Forza chicane. There it is, and it's look at McIntyre.
Oh my goodness, he's going to surely hit them. Oh, he hasn't. Wow, oh my goodness, that was Jack McIntyre absolutely from nowhere. He realised his mistake and actually did pretty well not to make any contacts, but that was absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, he had to bail out of that, and maybe it was better that he hit the Armco barrier because I don't think he intended to, but he'd bounced back into the track, he would have definitely got them.
Yeah, it's the perfect thing to do in the end, wasn't it?
Right then, on our way into the second chicane. Look at the way McFadden brakes. No, he's not going to make that corner. Oh, he does. Just about. Here comes Jamie Fluke. 3 wide. Just about. Baxter not giving an inch. And Baxter's also going to worry about Stuart McFadden. We could have 3 wide on our hands here. Watch out for Craig Williams in the Pro Sim car. He could be about to take all 3 of them here as we go over the top of the hill. This might not end well.
I think Fluke's got the ideal line down the inside, although actually down the outside goes Baxter, and he's going to hold on to the lead now. McFadden, can he respond? Williams couldn't really get too much involved in that one. I thought he'd be maybe gaining at least 1 position down there, but just sitting in behind these guys still. And Fluke trying to get the inside. Will he go over the curb maybe? And he's lost out now to McFadden. Here is Williams. He's got a box off its seat. And McFadden just about pulls ahead, and Baxter early on the brake. So McFadden swoops around. Can Fluke get involved? This way he had the crash in the last race, and he can't. And here comes Williams. Now this is what he needs to do. Watching before, but now he just backs out of it. Oh, he may have a chance. And the car off in the background. Yeah,
Colin Cunniff gets hit. Fortunately, gets on the anchors before he slides across and T-bones anybody. But that's the second time we've seen something of that similar ilk today. Let's see what happened. It's car 2. That's Alex. Alex, what have you been doing? Oh, he hits the back of him and sends him for a wild ride. Mark's man, Alex Simpson. I think he hit Ross McFarlane in race 1. But now the battle for the lead is on. Or battle for second place is on. Here comes Jamie Fluke. Up the inside, 2 wide through the Porsche Curves. This might not end well. Fluke up the inside, and he just about gets it done. So the Apex Racing car through into second place. This has allowed McFadden to break it out a half a second advantage. That'll surely be eradicated. Great racing we've got here, and when we get to the line, we're going to be starting lap 3.
Yeah, already, and yeah, so close between all these drivers. It could be a 10-way battle for the leader. Some point here. They're almost sucking to the inside. There was Fluke. That was really unnecessary. And it's just ruined his line, really. And now he's got to try to make up a little bit of time. He almost certainly will down the Mulsanne. And McFadden just does not have nearly enough pace to pull away. I don't think Fluke's got enough pace to pull away either. But if he can just take the lead here and hope the others squabble a bit, then his chances of finally claiming that victory today will be very good.
You can see Ash Sutton set fastest lap of the race, 4 minute 12.9. He is just getting past Dan Brown there going into the first chicane. Probably not too inconceivable of him winning the race. He's only 6 seconds off the lead. But if things were to kick off, as they very nearly did a lap ago, then he could be right in with a shout. Looking at the top 10, just looking at the intervals, we can get them up on screen. You can see everybody separated by about half a second on average between each other. That's how crazy it is around Le Mans. And now we're back onto the Mulsanne again, and Jamie Fluke regained his composure. He's right back on the tail of Stuart McFadden again. See what the Apex Racing car can do. On board with him, we're inside the cockpit. McFadden putting his car in the middle of the circuit, now moves to the inside. McFadden looks like he might lose the lead. Fluke might even be clear by the time we get on the brakes. Baxter trying to find a path through the middle as well. That ain't going to work. McFadden super late on the brakes and somehow makes the corner.
That's incredible. I really thought McFadden was just going to go, you know what, I'll go for it. Miss the corner or not, I'm not going to let this one go easy. And in the end, he managed to make the apex pretty nicely. And just going through now is Baxter. He still wants the race win here. Williams still in 4th, still watching this all go on. It's 2 by 2 going into the second chicane, and it's difficult to tell who's going to have the advantage here. McFadden usually so good on the brakes, and again he's ever so slightly later, and he should just be able to hold on to this one, and it's going to be a carbon copy of the last lap, I think.
Definitely is. What's Craig Williams going to do in all this? Don't know if he's won a race before in the BSRTC, but he's in good company here. Fluke moving to the outside. Baxter might now move across in response to that. He might just try and find a way through the middle here as we go over the top of the hill. You definitely don't want someone to misjudge their braking point here, otherwise it could end in a total disaster. On the brakes, into the Mulsanne corner. Fluke on the outside, using all the gravel to try and get ahead, and it might have worked out a treat here, you know. Into Indianapolis, Fluke around the outside. Oh! McFadden up the inside. Oh, sorry, I'm trying to hold it out around the outside, I should say.
On the exit there. And Baxter, is he going to be able to make that move? I think going down to the Porsche Curves, he's going to have a chance. And Fluke goes to the outside. He's got to try to hang it round here, and I think he might have the ideal line here.
Very, very close there. McFadden had to cover off Baxter. Look at these cars. Is Ash Sutton's in there, you know, I think. Might be. No, it's Michael Hall, isn't it? Those are the two CQR cars. Fluke up the inside then through the Porsche Curves. Apologies if we had a few drop frames in the stream. Oh! Might have a few cars dropping off the circuit here. McFadden inventing his own bit of circuit. Fluke around the outside. And now it's all line astern again. Top. Let's see if we can get the gaps up just so we can... Oh! Oh! No! How's that not ended in disaster? Nobody knows. And I think that's a slowdown penalty for Jamie Fluke, because he was definitely all 4 wheels off the circuit. McFadden now takes the lead. He might not be out of this race, you know, Jamie Fluke.
I thought McFadden might have a slowdown as well, but...
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he has. Yeah, he was trying to hold them all up going into the final couple of chicanes. And here comes Baxter into the lead then. Williams second now. Fluke dropped down to 5th. And Michael Hall and David Baker now inherit 3rd and 4th. So, yeah, who knows where this one's going to go.
2 to go then. And those gaps down the timing tower aren't to each other. That is how close it is. 5 seconds separating the top 15. Yeah, that is right. Now through the S's, Dave Baker going at it with Jamie Fluke. He's got his teammate there for company and Alex Simpson. Maybe he can't even rule these guys out for a win. The graphics can't anyway, because this is all the battle for first. Going into Tetra Rouge again. Now it's going to be Stephen Baxter up against Craig Williams. See if the Pro Sim car can do anything to get to the front of this pack, because The quick guys, no offence to Williams at all, are just a bit of a way behind at the moment. We'll go on board with Craig Williams in the Pro Sim car. See if he can close the gap as we get on the brakes into the Forza chicane on the penultimate lap. Welcome to our viewers on iRacing Live, by the way. Just noticed during the break that we've got the banner. Baxter's car snaking all over the place going into the first chicane. And he's able to hold on, but the gap did come down a little bit down that first part of the Mulsanne. See if he can close it down even more going into the Michelin chicane.
Yeah, I think he's, if he just stays in the slipstream, he's going to be maybe not quite in range for the overtake going into the second chicane, but maybe in line for the Mulsanne corner, perhaps. Fluke then trying to still get the move done on Baker, and McFarlane trying to challenge Simpson then. Simpson just about on the inside, but he's kind of got a car in the way, so he can't go full speed through that chicane, or not quite as fast as he'd like, and that's going to be side by side. They've lost a little bit of time, and just behind them is the other Apex racing car of Wojciech. So yeah, he's trying to get he's going to try to get both of these guys then, but I think it's side by side for the lead.
Yeah, here comes Craig Williams. He's going to try and take the lead. The Pro Sim car is going to try and get it done here. If he can get on the brakes, he does. Can he make the corner? He can't. No.
Oh.
But he gets a bit of grass tracking though, and it might still work out for him, you know. Here comes Michael Hall. Baxter's just about clear. Please don't quarter panel each other, guys. We'll have an absolute car crash on our hands here. It's down the second part of the Mulsanne. Here comes Michael Hall. He's got a fair amount of speed. Jamie Fluke's not out of this either. He's in 5th and could be right back on the scene again. Bump drafting there as Michael Hall pushing Stephen Baxter through. Now we're going into Indianapolis. This is where you don't want to do any bump drafting. You can see the brake lights glowing and the brake discs will be as well. Baxter sliding the car going into the first part of Indianapolis. Up the inside goes Michael Hall. Just about gives Craig Williams breathing space there. And now into Arnage. Oh! They touch. That's just about fair. Craig Williams vaulting the curbs, and that's allowed Stephen Baxter to get a 1 second advantage. I think that's the biggest gap the leaders had today. Now everybody behind is going to try and work together somehow, even though they're all racing for different teams, to try and get back to the Northern Lights Racing GT Omega car. Yeah,
and Hall's just about pulled ahead of these guys, and he might be able to pull away from Fluke and Co. Side by side between the Apex cars there. It's yeah, so it's Hall just ahead of Fluke, and then Williams, who really lost out in those few corners. Still the top, what is it, 13? Really close up there, and Williams trying to fight back against Fluke, although Fluke will have his eyes on that race victory, which is eluded him in races 2 and 3 somehow. And that was Sutton going up into 7th, so Sutton has had an awesome lap.
Yeah, looking at Sutton here, he's got a whole load of cars in front of him going into the Ford chicane. Surely he couldn't do it. He's only 3.3 seconds off the lead, but he's got to hope that Jamie Fluke and Michael Hall get there first. The gap is 9/10 of a second as we get the white flag. White flag in the air. You all wonder where Stuart McFadden is in all this. He's down in 15th place after that massive slowdown. It looked like it hurt him more than it hurt Jamie Fluke. Probably because Fluke served it in a better area of the circuit. Here comes Wojciech Savinovic up the inside of Dave Baker. Last season, these two were gunning it out for the championship. Baker is this time. Savinovic is still trying to recover after what was a pretty bad start to things. Gap is now 1 point, just over a second as we go through Tetra Rouge for the lead here. That's just enough for Jamie Fluke, I think, to get the benefit of the slipstream. But we're talking. Oh, car off.
Big crash in the background.
It's Sutton. We were just talking about him, and he's definitely not going to be winning this race, I don't think. Now, let's see what happens. Oh, it's car 8. That's Wojciech Savinovic. Goes up the inside. Oh, yeah. I don't think Wojciech's going to be having any of that, and yeah, that was inevitable, I think.
Yeah, when you dive so deeply down on the car ahead, then you can expect them to try to fight back, and Wojciech there didn't really have a choice to avoid that contact. It was very close between the two of them, and gap in the lead is down to 6/10 of a second. So you're right, Fluke's going to have a chance at this one. Hall trying to hang on against Williams again, back into that P4 now, and we'll try to go for it into the second chicane. But yeah, down to under half a second between the two leaders.
Apologies, we are getting a few drop frames. Don't know what's causing it. But yeah, here comes Michael Hall up the inside of Williams into the chicane. No way through there. But what's the gap down to then? It's down to 0.3 of a second between Baxter and Fluke. He's used the whole of the Mulsanne to his advantage here. Can he get it done into Mulsanne? And if they start battling, can anybody else close in behind? Williams and Hall are a good second or so behind now. It looks like it's going to be a two-car scrap for the lead going into the Mulsanne corner. Fluke not going for it yet. Now exiting the right-hander, building up the speed again. Let's have a look back from the rear of the Northern Lights Racing GT Omega car.
Will Fluke approach this the same way as he did in race 2, of course? That's going to be, that's the question.
Yeah, he had one opportunity to win it in race 2. Took it going into Indianapolis and it all went horribly wrong. Let's see if he's learned his lesson. He's going to go to the outside like he did in race 2. Can he execute it better this time? There's some lap traffic that's not too far away either. Fluke's going to get it done, I think. He is. Or is he? He's back on the circuit again. And Jamie Fluke takes the lead with about a third of the lap to go as off goes Craig Williams. And it's all kicking off in this battle for best of the rest, isn't it, Sam? Everyone squabbling over this 4th spot.
Yeah, Baker just managed to move up into P5. I think McFarlane down. Wojciech, after that crash early on the lap. It is Fluke still under a bit of pressure from Baxter. But as long as he doesn't make a mistake, he should be okay. But Baxter's not having any of that. He doesn't agree with me. He's still looking to the inside. But he's running out of opportunities now. And Fluke should be okay to hang on to this one. Just got to navigate those couple of chicanes at the end of the lap. And he should be able to hold on to this race victory.
It's all kicking off behind. I think Savidovic and Foggy are side by side somewhere. There they are. But here come the two leaders. They're on their way to the line, and unless it's some sort of dive bomb or some sort of slowdown by Stephen Baxter into the forward chicane, it's going to be... Oh my word!
Oh my goodness!
Was that Sutton? One of the CQR club cars was absolutely out of control, and well done to both of them for avoiding it. Jamie Fluke comes through the final corner, and he's going to win the final race of the day, something that he couldn't do in race 2, but he does in race 3. Stephen Baxter second, Michael Hall third. What about everybody else? Savidovic, Foggy, they're both there. Might have been Jamie Rushworth, you know, that was that caused all that. Let's have a quick look at that actually on the replay. Here is Jamie Rushworth, struggling with the car. Fast forward along a bit here. So he's carrying on. Oh, the car's severely damaged, isn't it, Salmon? He's trying to stay offline, trying to stay on the inside, then he hits the wall and then... Oh my goodness me. That was
got disqualified in the process as well. That was lucky, let's say. We've had a couple of them, haven't we? The corners down here at Le Mans kind of invite that type of incident, but fortunately the drivers have done very well to kind of stand on the brakes and prevent incidents like that occurring.
Over the line comes Julian Janowski to finish in 33rd place. Here comes Tyler Lugo Vickery, I should say, in 35th. He's the last car we're waiting for here. Hopefully we've got all the stream on here, by the way. I think we have. For the final corner. And Tyler is going to come across the line and finish in 35th place. And that is it. Right, while we wait for some potential interviews, let's run you through the finishing order then from another crazy race in the BSRTC. Great battles. See if I can get rid of Laura's name off the list. Don't know why Laura's name doesn't want to disappear off the timing tower. See if I can work this out. Hang on. Then we can run you through the finishing order. Right, this should all disappear. There we go. Let's bring the race results up then. Jamie Fluke wins Stephen Baxter second, half a second behind in the end. Then it's Michael Hall and Dave Baker, 2 CQR Club cars. Then Ross McFarlane, then Wojciech Savidovic. Then Nicole Foggy, Dan Brown, Adam McNally, 2 Pro-Am drivers there. And then what happened to Williams in the end, by the way? He ended up finishing down in on the timing screen. He finished in 4th. For some reason, he's not listed on the timing tower. So everybody all ignore what I've just been reading out. Then 11th, Adam McNally. 12th, Colin Cunniff. 13th place for Alex Simpson. 14th for Ash Sutton. Michael Blake 15th. 16th for Kip Stevens. 17th for Stuart McFadden. 18th for Chris Wood. 19th Paul Smith. And 20th for Lorne Murray. 21st place for Adam Hadfield. Then 22nd for Martin Front. Then Pete Harrod. Then it's Alex Everett. Then Jake Blackhall. Then Scott Malcolm in 26th place. 27th for William Daniels. Then Mark Woodhouse 28th, 29th for Max Wright, and 30th for Rob Graham. John Roberts 31st, Brian Holmes in 32nd, 33rd for Julian Chanovsky, 34th Dave Crozier, then Tyler Lugo Vickery, the last car to finish on the lead lap in 35th. Then it's the cars that had issues during the race. That had issues during the race. Let's run you through them. It's Christian Rose, Laura Bonds, Jamie Rushworth. We saw what happened to him very late on. Then Laidler, not the best race meeting for him. Then it is Diemer, Mark Johnston, Jack Sedgwick, Sven Glatzel, Carly Jansen, and Nathan Davis, who was involved in issues as well. Carly Jansen as well. Not the best evening for him. Right, it looks like we've got a few. I'm guessing the drivers have all got something to have words with other drivers about. So I think we'll make the most of opportunities and get out of here. We have ran over a little bit today. Oh, we don't want the grid graphic. We want the race info graphic to end on. Been a pretty crazy evening. I know you're only here for 2 of the races, but yeah, Le Mans truly living up to the billing here. What a great race meeting.
Yeah, absolutely. This is only my second race commentating on this series, and yeah, it was pretty epic. It's yeah, it's just awesome to know that you enter a race, have no idea who's going to win, and going into the final lap that you're still going to have no idea who's going to win. Awesome racing out there. The slipstream effect on this car, little bit OP, but around circuits like this, it does make it for awesome racing and so unpredictable. Lots of instants. Great racecraft, some not so good racecraft, and yeah, that's what we want to see.
Well, just before we go, just going to quickly see where we're heading to next on the calendar. Helps if the iPad works. We are next off to Road Atlanta, which is where we were on yesterday for the iRacing Le Mans series, so that should be pretty interesting, and make sure you can join us for that next week. That is at 8:15 BST. Enjoy what's left of the sunshine. It is the longest day of the year, so it's all going to get darker from here, and it is still light outside actually, just looking out the window. It's coming up to 11:15 in the evening, so we'll wrap it up here on Apex Racing TV. My thanks to Paul Smith for joining me for Summer Race 1. My thanks to Sam as well for joining me for Race 2 and Race 3, and yeah, make sure you can join Apex Racing TV over the next few days, because we've got plenty of action to look forward to at the weekend. But for now, from here at the Circuit de la Sarthe and the BSRTC, bye for now.